Let's just break down this new free trade agreement with India, shall we? And where I see it going as a layman, as a working class layman, not an expert, not somebody who writes in the Telegraph, just someone who's looking at what's going on and seeing what they see. I might be wrong. Who knows? I'm sure you'll tell me on the thread. So we'll choose Daniel Hannan. He's normally okay. Gone off him a bit actually. But obviously he's a middle class journalist, and that's how they earn their money. By writing in the Telegraph. It's a very good way to earn your living. Sit at your PC, it's a nice fresh day, you can have the door open, as I do often here. It's money for all rope, isn't it, journalism these days, because unfortunately there's tons of amateur bloggers like me who are prepared to dissect issues for free. And not only that, we might not have the training and there might be a few typos, but we still get to the point. That's the thing. So that's why newspapers are losing money, and they pay too much to the journalists. Here's what he says. The criticism of the India free trade arrangements are based on a series of misunderstandings. Let's nitpick, shall we? Easier immigration. No, there is nothing in this deal about migration. Nothing. There is an extension of the categories under which people can apply for work permits, but the total number can still be capped. They're extending the platform that you can come and work on, but the number can still be capped. But they won't cap it, will they? They won't cap it because it keeps wages down. So, national insurance exemptions, false, he says. There is a general presumption against double taxation. All employees of foreign companies get a 12-month exemption from paying national insurance. Britain has a reciprocal treaty with several countries to extend that period, and India has now joined their company. Since foreign employees can't claim pensions or related benefits unless they have paid in for 10 years, it seems only fair. Oh, the reciprocal agreement. How's that going to work out? How many people go to live and work in India, do you think? Brits? What, do you think it's a high volume? Do you think there's more people coming from an impoverished nation? Because no matter how much money they've got and how fast their economy's going, they've still got kids with rickets, kids begging on the streets, filth in the streets. They're not run like Britain, and people still want to come here. What gets me with this is what I call middle class journalist speak. And that's all right in your world, looking at GDPs and what's going on nationally. But I look at what's happening to people's lives. And I'm going to use an example in a minute. Cheap competition. Tariff reductions is always good for both sides, but the main beneficiary is the country removing the tariffs. We are not cutting duties on Indian textiles or seafood as a favour to India. We are cutting them as a favour to ourselves. When prices fall, we have more to spend on other things, which drives growth. Yeah, seafood. How many of you living off a staple diet of seafood from India? I know sometimes those tiger prawns come through, which are water and they look pumped up to me. We all know that cold water prawns are better. We're surrounded by miles and miles of coastline with great waters, good fishing, and we should be maximising the potential of that, not bothering about tariffs for stuff coming from bloody India. This is where I lose it with them. So, during lockdown, the NHS, the government sacked 40,000 care workers for not joining in the guinea pig rollout. They sacked them, 40,000, in an industry that's got malnutrition in care homes and was deemed to be already short-staffed. Then they tried it on with the frontline NHS staff, and if you remember, there was a big pushback. I was part of it. It was called NHS 100,000, where the workers got together, they demonstrated at the weekends, then they made a coalition of protest with the Together Declaration, which was only just founded at that time, Alan Miller. I backed it up because I had a bigger following, and we got among it. We pushed back, and the government stopped it. The government was going to sack all those frontline NHS workers. How would the frontline what would the frontline of the NHS look like without 100,000 of them? Just have a think about that. With you looking at your queues in hospitals and how people are left on trolleys, how the hell would we have coped if they'd actually sacked them? Well, I'll tell you what the government had done. They'd already brought in replacement staff and they were living in hotels. These were from abroad and some couldn't speak English. And I'll give you an example from a geriatric ward in Lancashire where new staff were brought in, irrespective of whether they joined in the protest. New staff were brought in on a geriatric ward, so there's your patients. They're ill, they're probably going deaf, slightly blind. Everybody's in a mask because of the rules, and you've got someone who can't speak English. One woman, desperate for a bedpan, a nurse told me this, desperate for a bedpan, so a young nurse who couldn't understand English bring her a water jug twice and then told her to pee in it anyway. Just use it. And that's the kind of standard we were getting. Nothing wrong with the individuals concerned, but they brought them in, they paid them in hotels, and they were ready to rock and roll to replace these people. They didn't have the whole 100,000, but these people never went home. Correct me on the thread if I'm wrong. These people that they brought in that were living in hotels never went home. This system is open to abuse and can be used as a backdoor, and I suspect will be used as a backdoor by the NHS, because the NHS is very, very politicised. So this is what we have to watch with this, because we're not going to get surgeons and engineers. We're going to get Deliveroo drivers. We're going to get people who want a better life, and nobody blames them for wanting that. But these politicians, unfortunately, spin it. And I don't agree with Daniel Hanna, and I've responded on his thread. So I've basically said I might have to change the wording because I'm on a more sensitive platform and don't like you talking about. You're dealing with a nation, this is my response to Hannah, you're dealing with a nation, Britain, who was ready to sack 100,000 NHS staff because they didn't want to join in the guinea pig rollout. The highly profitable rollout with dangers. A nation that had already got cheap foreign labour sitting in hotels ready to fill the gap. Only a protest stopped this. Those new workers never went home. This is a nation, Britain, who sacked 40,000 care workers because they didn't want to join in. And in an industry that's already short-staffed and has malnutrition in care homes, I see that as dangerous, thoughtless and unnecessary. A government, the party's irrelevant, that delayed Brexit to hang on to free movement of cheap labour for the corporate backers. This country never does anything for the benefit of its existing workforce. It prefers to gather employment from cheaper places. How many Brits are going to be employed in India? Drums, fingers. How many Asian-owned care home chains are there that are going to benefit from cheaper staff? There's loopholes galore. So all they have to do is basically contact an Indian employment agency and they can come through legitimately. There's loopholes galore at corporate level, whilst the working class have to stand back yet again watching their opportunities and country crumble as they are taxed and fined to death. Now, I've said all this because this next bit brings us on to an important level, and that is just how important it is that we've got control. Whoever we are, we're on the same team. No matter whether you like reform or you don't, we're all on the same side here. We see what's happening to our country. We see it's in the wrong hands. It's sliding into communism, and people are concentrating on the wrong stuff rather than looking at what's happening. The control we've got of councils will help enormously with all sorts of areas, including healthcare and education, because they can ask questions. They can delve where the other parties didn't want to delve. They can question things. I wonder if it's possible that they'll be able to reject ULEZ zones in their council areas. Because let's face it, it's Andy Burnham who's a mayor that brought it in Manchester. That's only really council level, isn't it? So this is why it's important. This is why what's happened with the councils is a magnificent victory. Because even if these new councillors are inexperienced and make some clusterfucks, there's so many benefits to be had by people who want to question what's previously gone on. This is doors. We're opening it up now. People are going to be in those councils that aren't afraid to open it up. Bearing in mind the other people, the Tories and the Labour, that they will protect the party. So obviously, as legislation comes down from either of those parties, they would protect it. We've got people in who have, I'll say, nothing to lose and nothing to gain, because all they want to do is run the councils more efficiently with less costings for people and concentrating on issues that you need at council level. Bin day needs to be regulated. Why are we paying for green bins when we used to get them for free? Why are we having services taken away from us? Why are landlords paying rates on empty properties? Because the council collects the money for the inland revenue. So maybe the council could come up with a new deal with the inland revenue and say, well, hang on a minute, this is just plain greed, it's profiteering, because empty buildings don't use any services. An empty building doesn't go to the hospital. An empty building will never, ever have to use the road system. The empty building will never have anyone in school. Do you understand me? Buildings don't use services. Rates are for services. So there's so many areas that could get cleaned up, to give them time, of course. But when you look at what happens from central government, having control of 10 councils is an absolutely rocking result. And I'm looking forward to things to come. And the other thing, we can expose everything on social media. Even if the media, I point it that way because my telly's over there. Even if the media ignores it, social media won't. So just using Daniel Hannan as an example of this, I'm sick of this middle class stranglehold on the rhetoric. You know, it's in the Telegraph. Yeah, the Telegraph have been that good that they're looking to sell. They basically haven't got enough money to continue the way they are. And guess what the papers are doing? This cracks me up, this. Whilst the readership and circulation is depleting, they're actually now making it so that you have to pay. The Daily Mail, I think, have done it. They put a bit of a thing up on Facebook and Twitter, and then if you want to access it, you have to go in and subscribe. Have you ever heard anything like it, that people are going to pay to read your bullshit? No, they're not. They're going to turn to bloggers who do it for free. And there's plenty of people about who are doing it without a cover charge to the public. And that's what I like about it, and me certainly. I'm not professional. You'll see typos in my work. There's no razzmatazz, there's no branding, there's no headlines. I just do what I can do in the time I've got available, and I'm prepared to put the research in, and I'm prepared to apologise if I've got it wrong. So moving forward, we need more of that, don't we? And less of the bullshit that the papers use for clickbait, because they've got to clickbait everything, because they've got wages to pay, massive ongoing costs, rents in buildings, staffing, office equipment, it's all there. They've got to pay for it. And where does it come from? It comes from advertising in the main, a little bit from the cover charge. But, you know, people are getting sick of it. People are just getting sick of being fed crap from the mainstream media. The sooner the media gets honest, the better off they become. They want to give it a go. They might enjoy it.